Hey everybody, it's Melanie McGovern, Communications Director for Better Business Bureau of Upstate New York. We're continuing what I'm calling our BBB Conversation series with organizations across upstate New York that can help your small business. And the best part of this is a lot of their services are free. Today, I am thrilled that we have Meghan Florkowski, who is the Executive Director of the Syracuse WiSE Center. Now, Meghan, let's start it with, what does WiSE stand for? A lot of people might not know.
So it stands for Women Igniting the Spirit of Entrepreneurship. It's been with us a long time, and I actually think it predates our time as a women's business center. So we are a women's business center, and that's an important thing to add in there.
Yeah, and there's women's business centers across upstate New York. Do you know how many there are in this area?
Sure, so there are several. So we have some neighbors over in Canisius College is actually the host. So in Buffalo, we have neighbors in Utica that cover quite a bit of upstate New York. And then to our south, actually, going all the way down to, I believe it's even the Westchester area. So we actually have some space there. But
that's incredible because it's so important for women to support women. We know how important that is. So tell me about the services you provide for the women who use the center.
Absolutely. So, we are, as I had mentioned, a women's business center. We're one of 117 around the nation. We've been so for, going on 15 years, which as I look back at the history and how does the time fly? I've been on board since November. So it's really just pretty awesome what we get to do, even on, I would say, a day-to-day basis. And right at the center of that work is the counseling. It's the one-on-one. It's the technical assistance that we're able to provide at no cost to our community of women business owners. And so go ahead, please.
I was just going to say, that's the one thing that I think, especially during the pandemic, which we're going to get to in a second, but that's what people want. They want to be able to have someone to talk to. They want to be counseled. They want to have the opportunity to sit with somebody, even, now it's virtual, but just to be able to say, here's what I have, tell me what I need to do.
Absolutely. And everything's available on the internet, right? You can Google anything right now and find out so much of what you need. But when it comes to sitting down and having a one-on-one and really talking about strategy and possibly filling in some of those gaps, that's really where I would say we specialize, and having the opportunity to really take that deep look. And I would even say, for some of those clients that we serve, it's often not that they don't know what they're doing. It's really the confidence to move forward in certain areas. And sometimes it's nice to have somebody that you can kind of have right next to you as that mentor to help keep you accountable.
Oh, I love that. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's they need the confidence to keep going forward. That's
Absolutely.
amazing.
Yep,
I'm all uplifted now. That's incredible. No, I mean, and that's what people, that's why, like you said, we can Google all this stuff, and, people don't, quote, need to come to a Better Business Bureau or a WiSE, but they should, because it's that knowledge that you're not going to find on the computer, that you're going to hear from people who've either, been in business or work with people in business, so they know, here's firsthand information, not just some random website that you pulled off the internet. But, we brushed upon it, but we're going to talk about it a little bit more. Everybody's been affected by the pandemic. Do you have any stories of how some of the businesses you serve, how they've either pivoted or how they've changed themselves to adapt to, I hate to say it, but the new normal?
Sure. So no, that's a great question. We always like to be able to share those stories as well. But I would say some of the trends that we're seeing folks that really have been open to change, right? So those perhaps that had really strong relationships with their clients, they were really great at customer service, but still within that, you have to change. You have to constantly be open to looking at what is next. And so I'd say an open mindset, being really good at communicating and staying connected, and I would say transparent, right? So those clients are so deeply valued, and they were so important during this pandemic to really value them and show gratitude. So I'd say those that have done it well understood that, or at least learned it very fast, right, on that. And I would say even with those clients that we're seeing on a regular basis and talking strategy, of course, it's about building resilience. And I would say that some right now are in a better place because they've diversified, for example, their supply chain, and they're looking at different vendors. And that is something that you can take forward no matter what hits you, right? So I would say that businesses are definitely becoming more resilient when they're looking at things in that way.
It's interesting. We see how businesses that were brick and mortar have taken it online, or they've, decided to do different products or different lines. For some of these small businesses, what's the difference been for them? Like, what have they embraced technology a little bit more? Have they, changed products? Have they changed even marketing tactics? What have you guys seen from some of your clients?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. You've, for those on the manufacturing side, even that had those capabilities to do something different, right? You'll even see it with some of the folks that are now making masks, right? Or collaborations even between clients, just to differentiate that mask and make it maybe a little bit different. I would think even with that, looking at some of the brick and mortar businesses that we have, if you stock in their shops now, you'll see them selling products from local owned businesses. Sometimes they are those masks, right? So I think just embracing that thinking, being creative, and just constantly changing with that. I think also to your point about just, accepting, adopting technology. Even our center, right? We had to quickly move to a virtual environment. Our counselors had to be comfortable in that environment on behalf of their clients to best support them. Our training had to shift. I know that you've done it too.
Oh, yes.
Right. The same for small businesses. We have, for example, those that are in the fitness realm, they're doing now classes with their team online and making them fun and creative. They're getting out parking lots and making sure their classes are available in that way. And it's also making them rethink even, the spaces that they're leasing, are they now the right fit for them?
Yeah, and I was just going to say, you guys have really done a lot. I mean, I get your emails every week. You've got amazing programming. What's the feedback been from your clients?
So that's an interesting and a good question, right? And so I would say, we're actually seeing, I would say, lower engagement rates than we would like to as a center. Just being transparent, and we're always looking at that, and as the why. And I think it's because there is so much that's out there right now. So many of our clients are juggling so much. And so I would say we're trying to make sure that's as accessible on their own timeline, right, as possible. The positive that we're hearing from those that are able to participate live is that it's at a time when they want it, right? It's in short segments when they need it. And that it's in a format that they can go and retrieve it when they want it. So those are like that's kind of some of those things that we're hearing. Folks want to engage when, again, it's easy for them to do so. So I think having the opportunity to see other business owners and share their stories and be able to talk about perhaps those and celebrate with each other when they can, that's been some good feedback. And we always have fun sharing the stories too, because you see a lot in the news right now about businesses closing, and that's a reality, but there's also a lot of good that's happening.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say that. That's why we're doing this. It's going to be easy to watch. You're going to get all of your information out there, and it's not at a scheduled time of day where people might have to run their business. So yeah, no, we've done the same thing with our programming as well. We're making it easy for people to access it, digest it, and then move on to running their business and running their day.
Yeah.
Meghan, is there anything that we might have left out that you want to add in before we sign off for the afternoon?
Absolutely. And I love this, by the way, thank you. So I just want to touch, there's so many tremendous resources out there. Of course, we value being on here and having the opportunity to talk a little bit about WiSE and our counseling programs and our training programs. In fact, they're virtual. I always like to make sure folks are connecting into their local network, right? And so when you're thinking about your local network, think about your women's business centers, think about your small business development centers, both resources of the SBA, resource partners of the SBA. When you're thinking about loan programs, think about the SBA. Think about what's available at the state through ESD. The EIDL loan program is still available. The New York Loan Forward program is still available. And because we get these questions a lot, right? So,
Yeah.
so I like to put it out there. There are so many guides that are out there. Some of them that I see that I like are being pushed out by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, keeping up with what's out there and kind of warehousing it so that you don't have to poke around in a lot of different places. So just even if you don't want that one-on-one counseling or some of that training, just take advantage of those resources so you're not feeling like you have to do it all and do all that research on your own.
Right. And don't forget about your local chamber.
Mm-hmm.
They're always a wonderful resource as well. A lot of the chambers are doing virtual mixers and networking, so you can still meet people through those types of partnerships as well. Meghan, thank you so much for your time. This was really great. Everybody can check you out. What's your website?
Sure, wisecenter.org. So
Perfect. No dashes,
right,
no
easy.
spaces, no nothing like that. WiSeCenter.org. Meghan Florkowski with the Syracuse WiSE Center. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Melanie. Take care.